Match 6 second half tries. How did you see that one?
Yeah, it was a good defensive performance, obviously in the second half. We had some good control in the first half, but in the second half they just took control and rolled up the back of the ruck and got momentum and then kicked to the corners and just played a real long game. They applied the pressure. Obviously every team's trying to do that and they just did it better than what we did in the second half.
How important were a couple of those big moments? I think Nikorima dropped a kick and then there might have been a hand in there from Tane Milne, and then there was a one-on-one strip with Brent Naden and Jackson Paulo.
Oh, they're massive moments in games. They change the momentum. You've obviously got to be able to handle those, but you're playing against a team that's sort of got a number of guys that have played in the big games that understand pressure. We're continually learning to get to that level. But those sorts of moments really change the momentum in a game. We're in control, we went down, put a play on, the ball got knocked down, next thing all of a sudden we ended up back down on our try line. Yes, you've got to be able to handle those at a higher level than what we did, and we've actually been handling those quite well over a period of time in the last few games, but we didn't show that, which was disappointing. But you need a few things going your way, and those moments really hurt us, and we didn't then sort of dig our way out of that.
How important is that loss in the context of this season, do you think?
We've just got to keep rolling up and keep improving on what we've been doing and looking at that game now and go, well, how do we understand when we're in those situations that we've got to be able to get out of that as well? Obviously from a season point of view, that's the long process of where we're trying to get to, but what we're trying to do at the moment is make sure we build really strong foundations to be able to win those type of games. And I think we've actually shown that over the last sort of couple of months where there's periods in the games that's hurt us, but there's also some really good passages. I mean, we had really good control in the first half. I think we went from up around 86% completions and then we went down to 60-something in the second half. That just applies pressure and that's the scoreboard ticking over, and you've got to be able to handle that better than what we did tonight. It was a disappointing second half. They did capitalise, and they're big men that have been around a bit. Were able to put the players on. Damien Cook rolled over the ad line, they got in behind the ruck, which obviously we're aware that's what he does. And then they just get a little bit further into your territory, kick it into the corner, and then just go back and do it again. And that's obviously our style of game, which we've got to be better at.
Imagine from the outside the season, it's a long object, but going into the bye at 3-9, can you turn it around from this point?
We'll turn it around for sure. I mean, there's passages of plays that I've said that show what our team's capable of. Look, the first half, if you're completing high, which we did last week, and other games that we can talk about, when you're completing high, but you've got to respect what you've got to do at the start of a half. We didn't do that at a high enough level today, to earn the right to be able to go out and put pressure on the opposition, and they did.
Do you feel like you've taken steps forwards, but also for every step taken forward, you've taken a few back in the last couple of months? Because obviously there was great signs off the back of those couple of straight wins, what you're able to do in that month or so of football.
Yeah, I mean, we do seem to take a few steps forward and then go back, but that's part of where we are at the moment, to be able to develop the long game and build a real sturdy, strong unit. If we came out and we had a few things going our way, well, we'd probably be talking about something different, but we aren't. So we've got to stay tight together and keep building the foundation of what Jimmy and I have been talking about for quite some time.
You did have the first time today you had your spine together since round 7, I think. So that's 5 weeks where you've not had everybody on deck. Do you think that was, I mean, to me it seemed like one of the key things early in the game was that you had those combinations running that kind of, I'm sure fans have been looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, and we capitalised on that. But then you've obviously got to go out in the second half, and they were able to roll the ruck, and they pinned us in the corners, and that's the style of game that wins competitions. We've just got to be at a better level doing that.
Do you think there might have been an issue in terms of, obviously you've got Twal out, for example, and South were really able to keep that intensity with the forwards when potentially you rotated your middles, it dropped a little bit? Yeah,
well, Twals is a big part of what we're about. We put Twals out there and he locks down the middle. He's a big part of what we do, as everyone knows. So, but in saying that, we've got people capable of being able to jump in and do what they needed to, and we showed that in the first half. We just didn't do it for long enough periods in the second half. That's the disappointing part. That we didn't roll the sleeves up when we needed to be able to win back the momentum of that game. Even though they scored a couple of tries, we needed to get back together and get back in control, and that's going to be from a coaching point of view, the challenge for us as a group to be able to work through those.
at the halfway point in the competition now, do you still feel you can play in the finals?
Yep, I do. Yeah, I mean we win every game, and that's we'll roll up every week with the attitude to win every game. Yeah, so definitely.
And you talk about attitude though. What does it sort of say about the group's attitude, bleeding 6 second half tries like that?
Well, South's just got momentum. They, they had Burgess and the other crew rolling up the back, and then they camped us down on our line, and we needed to work harder, and that's the thing that any team when you've got a change of momentum like that. There were some disappointing tries out there. I'm not going to hide from that. That was, and the boys were disappointed about that themselves. But we've got to be able to handle that change of momentum and capitalise when the time comes. We were down there. We actually started the second half in decent shape. Ball got knocked out. We ended up down on our try line, and we just didn't recover for a long period of time. And that's where the pressure comes in. And the teams that understand that are the ones that are further up the ladder at the moment.
Jimmy, do you feel like it's Groundhog Day? I mean, talking about effort and whatnot, and you guys taking steps forward, but then you're at 3 and 9, and
you can say that continuously trying to consistently put 80 minutes of footy together. Madge said it is frustrating. I think we completely lost that game and partly beaten. There's a difference there. We somewhere in that passage, like Madge said, in the first half, we played our game how we wanted to play. In the second half, we were just completely not ourselves, and South had a lot to do with that. I'm not taking anything away from them, but we went away from what we spoke about all week, and that's the difference at the moment of putting 80 minutes of footy together.
What did you think, Jimmy, were the key turning points in that second half?
Not exactly sure. I was there on the field too. Everything, all the chatter, it was right. We just, I think we were trying to finesse our way around. Like Madge said, in the first half, we rolled up our sleeves. We knew what we had to do. Second half, I guess we thought we could try and get our way around it, and it was much easier than what we thought. And that's the challenge of the 80-minute game, and the scoreboard. I think we got caught looking at the scoreboard and looking at the ref like, this isn't supposed to happen. So mental toughness plays a part of that, and again, it's something that we need to address going forward.
Mads, do you think there's an issue with Jackson? Because, I think he's been in a moon boot all week, and obviously he wasn't kicking goals, and then he's so vital to what you do as a team. Do you think there's anything maybe underlying there that was slowing him down a bit?
No. I mean, most players at this stage of the year have got something going on with their bodies, and he's just been challenged with a little bit of an ankle issue that he's dealing with. So, no.
Matt, a bit of a tough night defensively for Asu on the wing there in the second half. Any regrets not putting David in after a few weeks out?
No, not at all. No, it's a team decision around that, and Dave's obviously coming off the back of a fair spell with his concussion, so we're managing that as well.
But he's available for selection after the bye potentially.
Yep.
Match, how do you treat it next week? Do you let the players get away for a bit and switch off because of what you've gone through the last couple? I guess is that something you do every year anyway, or how do you approach it?
We've got a plan that we've had in place. The boys will get away and freshen up and come back and do it all again, get going again. I mean, Hoops, you just spoke about, the season's still alive. You get a run and you can go back in time at this club, where you get all your players back. We get Adam Dewey coming back in. We get Twilesy come back in. Dave Nofaluma flying back in. He needs to get himself ready. So you just need to have a passage of consecutive wins. And I know it's inside this team. Jimmy just said, we've got to play an 80-minute game. Last week we played an 80-minute game. We did it against South last time we played them, and Parramatta. We've got to go towards that quicker, and all of a sudden you put yourself back in the competition.
And not a celebratory night for you, but obviously a guy you handed debut to about 10 years ago, 10 years ago, broke a try scoring record at South Knights. Have you spoke to him yet? Will you go in and speak to him?
I'll chase up AJ. Yeah, look, I'm really pleased for him. It's nice to see a player that you've had a little bit to do with, breaking records like that. So, it's a real congratulations to him. He can find the try line, old AJ, and he did a fair job when we were together. So, good on him.
Do you look at this period as something where you can almost get an advantage on the rest of the league? Because I don't think you'll lose anybody to Origin, or not many, certainly, whereas almost everybody else will. And obviously last year you beat the Panthers during Origin, and it kind of was a good moment for you. Do you think that's something you plan towards this year, that might work.
We've just got to make sure we capitalise on the break and then come back and as I just spoke about, start getting some games on games. We've got to win and learn how to win consecutive games. Second half there was it was disappointing from our standard of what we've been moving towards, but it's something the boys will address.